You're listening to My Comic Life on the My Comic Life Podcast Network. Welcome back to My Comic Life, folks. That's right, you found your number one podcast for all things comics, movies, sci-fi, pop culture, geek, nerd. If that's what you're into, you're in the right spot right here. Joining me each week in the My Comic Life studio, well, folks, the only man I know who's ever stumped the Riddler with a riddle, Alex. Say hi to the folks there, Alex.
I don't know, man. I feel like Jarvis is more Iron Man than Tony is. Just my personal opinion. Like, just because he puts on the suit, that doesn't make him Iron Man. You know what I'm saying?
What the heck? How do you go from Batman to Iron Man?
I'm just saying, just because he puts on the suit, that don't make it like you're Sam, right? Let's say I put
Yes.
on your shoes and your underwear. Does that make me Sam, or am I still Alex?
Are you
So
asking
he's
the
still
age-old question? Do the clothes make the man?
He's still Tony Stark. Anyway, we could keep going after that. How are you doing out there, folks, ladies and gentlemen? It's been 1 week, but I've missed you oh so much. I've been waiting to get into some of this good stuff that we got going this week. Sam, please take us into it.
All right, we're going to start off with Netflix. The Netflix side of things. Netflix has released a trailer for Zack Snyder's upcoming Undead epic. The trailer showcases Dave Bautista as Scott Ward and his group of mercenaries as they take on the ultimate gamble. Las Vegas has become quarantined following a zombie outbreak, and Ward and his team are tasked with entering the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted. This is Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead. It's been a minute since we've had a solid zombie movie. I mean, in the early to mid 2010s, zombies seemed like they were all the rage. Do you think zombies have any gas left in the tank, or did The Walking Dead take the rest of that with it there, Alex?
Oh man, I know there was that meme that was not really a meme, but that hashtag that was going around that was like when you stopped watching The Walking Dead, because it's just I don't know if zombies have anything left in the tank, dude. I do know that them mid 2000s the zombies were hitting, dude. We had so much good stuff. Let me ask, what was your favorite zombie movie from that era? Do you have one?
Man, I got to go with the very first zombie movie I ever saw that got me into the whole zombie thing, and that was Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah,
That
Zack
was
Snyder, friend of the show.
Yeah, friend of the show, Zack Snyder. Now, like I'd always heard about zombies, but I hadn't really ventured too far down that pathway yet. And so, like I said, I just saw a trailer for this, and I was like, well, that movie looks cool. And me and a bunch of friends, in high school went and saw it, and like that like blew the doors like wide open for me. And I really started watching like a lot of like the Romero zombie films, just other zombie films I saw on streaming services. Uh, what was your first, like what got you into the zombie genre? Like what first took you down that road?
I did like Dawn of the Dead. Here's a mind bender for you. You know that movie came out in 2004.
Yeah, I was a
Yeesh, man,
senior in high school.
yikes! I was two years graduated. But anyway, so for me, I would have to say I really liked Zombieland. That was probably the one that really got me. I mean, it had, of course, Emma Stone, Woody Harrelson, fantastic. The laughs. What's his name? Bill Murray was also in it. Like
Oh yeah, like one of the best cameos in a film, hands down.
I think that was probably the one that did it for me. Now, as far as like, going back to your original question, do I think that there's any gas left in the tank for zombies? I just don't know, man. I do like, I'll watch it regardless. I love me a good zombie flick. This one seems more like a kind of to be in line with your Dawn of the Dead's, and just going to be heavy violence, heavy action. So I'll give it. I'll definitely give it a shot, and I hope that it will kind of spawn some sort of a franchise, because I'd really like to get back to watching a solid zombie flicks, a la Resident Evil and I Am Legend and stuff like that. But what about you, Sam? You think there's anything? You got anything left for the zombies, or?
I don't subscribe to like, full tank, empty tank, I kind of subscribe to like ebbs and flows, kind of like the
Right.
ocean crashing in and then pulling back out and then crashing in. So yeah, so like zombies were all the rage, in like the mid to like late 2000s, and then like, like that kind of receded and we hadn't heard much, zombie stuff beyond The Walking Dead for a while. And now hopefully, I mean, this could be it. Like this could be the flow. Crashing back in here. Zack Snyder could, if this is successful, this could restart up like a whole big zombie craze here. And I kind of hope it does. I love a good zombie film. I love the gore turned up to the point that like it's so unbelievable. And I mean, we are starting to get this a little bit. I know a zombie film that I've been hearing about that I need to watch and haven't seen yet, but it's been on my radar. It's called Last Train to Busan. Uh,
Oh yeah.
that's supposed to be, zombies on the train, but like an epic, great zombie film. And now we're starting to get stuff, like I mentioned, this Army of the Dead. So I think the zombies are slowly starting to creep back in there, just beyond like The Walking Dead, which was kind of carrying the zombie genre for a while. Because yes, I've heard of reboots of the Evil Dead film franchise coming out, and Netflix. I don't know whether it's like an animated series or like an animated film, but they are doing an animated Resident Evil film coming out here pretty soon as well. So
Yeah, I do remember that.
yes, there is some zombie stuff. Like I said, slowly creeping itself back into the pop culture. Let me ask you this though: like, does the trailer have you hooked? Are you sold? Will you be tuning in?
I know I was talking a bunch of shit about the zombies, but I mean, zombie tiger, bro. Like I'm there for it. I'm 100% gonna tune in for the zombie tiger alone. I do think that this, what we got out of the trailer was a little glimpse into what we'll actually get. Well, obviously, a little glimpse into what we'll actually get out of the movie. But I like that these zombies are kind of different than your normal kind of shuffling around, just hunger for brains zombies. These ones actually look like I don't remember which was it, Day of the Dead or one of those where
Yeah,
the zombies actually could like swim and they could talk to each other and stuff like
yeah. I
that.
was I was just about to say the same thing. Like, wow, like you and I are in the same eerie Professor X wavelength tonight. But yeah, Day of the Dead and Land of the Dead both started like denoting that like and these are both great George A. Romero classic zombie films that you should check out. But they both started to like denote that like zombies were starting to like evolve and think again and like form like a hierarchy because yeah, like they start learning to like hold guns and fire guns and like communicate with each other and everything. And yeah, I saw that in this trailer and like yeah, like you, that was my first thought was, hey, this looks like an homage to either Day of the Dead or Land of the Dead, where like yeah, zombies are actually becoming smarter and smarter and smarter.
Absolutely, and I'm glad that Dave Bautista is actually kind of finding some work outside of Guardians of the Galaxy because he's a pretty good he's pretty good at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Batista is like the latest in a long line of people that have made the jump from pro wrestling to acting. Is he one of your favorites? And if not, who is?
I kind of yeah I think that he's very quickly becoming one of my favorite from the people that made the jump from pro wrestling to acting. Of course, number one has got to be everybody's favorite is probably Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I mean, it's he kind of stands heads and shoulders above everybody. There's not too many more. I mean, there's I know Hogan made
Ugh.
the cinematic classic Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny back there in the
Yeah.
'80s. Um, and who else was it? John Cena is actually starting to get a lot of work now. I know he's in that Fast and the Furious 9 that's coming out. So and
Yep. And he's going to be in
then you had
Suicide
Kane
Squad.
that was in a lot of yeah actually he is getting his own movie, isn't he, with the that Suicide Squad spinoff, right?
Yeah, John Cena's in Suicide Squad, and yeah, he's getting his own TV series on HBO Max called Peacemaker, based on his character in the Suicide Squad. So they're really banking on him in that one.
And I think yeah, so it would be probably The Rock would be my favorite. Dave Bautista would be right behind him, and then probably I can't remember her name, but she's in The Mandalorian. She plays the sidekick of the rightful heir of Mandalore. But she's like one of those WWE divas, and she's pretty badass. So I'd probably say I'd put her in there. But what about you, man? Is you like Drax, or what do we do? What do we got?
Oh no, I'm excited. I thought Dave Batista was a great wrestler, but no, I'm always happy to see wrestlers successfully make the change from wrestling to acting. For me, it starts with Rowdy Roddy Piper with "They Live." I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. I mean, Come on. What a great
A1 tier
classic.
line there, right?
Yes, yes. So yeah, so for me, yeah, I'm throwing it back to John Carpenter's They Live with yeah, Rowdy Piper. And then yeah, Hulk Hogan, yikes. Yeah, I saw Suburban Commando and Mr. Nanny and just cringed through them. But I was a fan of Thunder in Paradise, so there you go
Oh, that one's
for
yeah.
that one. But yeah, no, I love to see people like John Cena, The Rock, and yeah, Dave Batista. They entertain us inside the ring, and I think they're even doing like a better job outside the ring. And I'm always excited to like see like the wrestlers I grew up watching get work in movies, especially really good movies. And yeah, so yeah, no, give Batista, give John Cena, give The Rock more movie parts. I'm all on board for this. He does not have to just be Drax for me and me alone. No, let's see what else he can do.
And yeah, and all credit to him because I mean, when it comes down to it, The Rock is really just playing The Rock in damn near every movie that he's in. Whereas
Yeah,
Batista, I mean, you have this, you have Spy, you have what's the Stuber? He was really funny in. So he can really do comedy when he needs to, and he can also, from the looks of it, really throw some punches out there. So I cannot wait to watch him in this. And I'm like I said, he's a right now he's really quickly becoming one of my favorites.
same here. Because we need wrestlers to carry on. Like the '80s action movies that we grew up with, and beyond. Yeah, I mean, look, man, let them. Like you said, take a stab at comedy or whatever. But these guys make great action stars in great action films. So yes, I'm excited to see Dave Batista in this role. Now,
Exactly, William Shakespeare's Hamlet starring.
yes, 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 please. Let's see him tackle that. As stated before, Army of the Dead is directed by Zack Snyder, who also wrote the movie alongside Shay Hatton, who wrote John Wick 3, and Joby Harold, also of John Wick 3, as well as the highly anticipated Obi-Wan Kenobi series premiering on Disney Plus. With action-oriented stars like the aforementioned Dave Batista, Anna Della Regura, Omari Hardwick, and my comic life favorite, Hiroki Sanada, the Wolverine, Last Samurai, and upcoming Mortal Kombat, Hiroki will be playing Scorpion. It seems like this movie has plenty of ingredients to make an action masterpiece. Now, Snyder is no stranger to action, but do you worry that his cinematography style has grown a little tiresome since we were subjected to so much slow motion in his recent Justice League production?
I hope that he doesn't overdo it. I am one of the people that feels like it was quite overdone in the Justice League. Um, slow motion has its parts, but there's also I hope that the people that wrote John Wick will be able to kind of rein that in a little bit because that's not John Wick is a franchise that's notorious for not having any for its realism, for not having kind of slow motion and stuff like that, and just letting the action kind of speak for itself. And I hope that they can kind of you know that Zack Snyder can kind of take some pointers from that, as well as take some constructive criticism that the fans have given him from Justice League. I mean, after all, you know, it would be wise of him to listen to the fans, considering that the fans are kind of what created that whole Zack's bring back the Snyder Cut hashtag that got the ball rolling. I really hope that he just does not overdo it. I love action as much as anybody, but I just don't want slow motion every 10 or 15 seconds, bro. I mean, what do you think?
Um, I'm hoping Zack Snyder will harken back to his days of directing Dawn of the Dead here. I don't mind the occasional, like slow motion, like bullet or like explosion, really giving you a second to like, take in the full, environment of what's going on, like what impact that bullet is having, like where it's traveling through like four, five, six zombies' heads, and like they all fall down in a row, like
Right.
that's fine, or like somebody tosses a grenade and you see like 12 zombies go flying in eight different directions, sure, that's fine. But no, like, Batista gets up in the morning and goes to brush his teeth. I don't need to see that in slow motion. Batista puts on deodorant. I don't need to see that in slow motion. You know what I mean? There is a time that, yes, you can have some slow motion and it can add emphasis to, like, the story you're trying to tell. But, yeah, Zack Snyder seems to have, fallen in love with with slow motion. Now that being said, certain directors direct a certain style. Like you can always expect like a foot shot in like a Quentin Tarantino film,
Yikes.
or like, you know, or like also in like a Quentin Tarantino film, like you can always have like six characters at like a table, and the camera's kind of constantly moving around in a circle as these characters are talking. So I mean, if you're going to go watch a Snyder film now, you got to expect that there's probably going to be some slow motion in there. I mean, there's just no getting around it. But like I said, there's a time and place for slow motion, and then there's not a time and place for slow motion. And I'm hoping that this is just more fast-paced running zombies, kind of scary yet fun, like we got out of his original Dawn of the Dead. What do you think? I mean,
Absolutely.
like, is slow motion going to like ruin this for you? Like, if it's too much slow motion, will you turn it off, or will you keep on watching?
I mean, I'm gonna watch, but I mean, too much slow motion is just really gonna take me out of this movie. Like, I feel like that's what kind of did it for me as far as the Justice League. It was just like it got to eye rolling levels sometimes. But I mean, Netflix has revealed the official runtime for this movie, Army of the Dead, and it looks like to be a relatively lengthy, clocking in at 2 hours and 26 minutes. So I mean, what's your over under on slow motion time, bro?
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be a Snyder film if it was under 2 hours. I mean, come on. Everything he's got to do has got to be like an epic. Over under on slow motion time. Damn. I'm gonna say at least 15 to 20 minutes of slow motion time. So 20 of those 26 minutes will be slow motion time. What's your over under on this?
All right.
Oh, open one,
Okay.
cracking it open early for the over under bet here. What are we looking at here, Alex?
So I'm gonna go with the Justice League formula, and I'm gonna say 10%. So 22. What's 2 hours? 120 plus that 146 minutes. So I'm gonna say 14.6 minutes of slow motion.
All right, folks. Don't forget to throw your wagers in the comments below when we post this episode. I said 20 minutes. Alex said 14 minutes. Also, man, they are really rolling with this Army of the Dead thing at Netflix because in September of last year, it was announced that an animated series titled Army of the Dead: The Lost Vegas is in the works. Now, the anime style series has already begun production and has enlisted the voice talents of Joe. I'm going to butcher your last name, Joe, friend of the show. I'm so sorry.
Manganello.
Thank you, Joe Manganello, a personal favorite of mine and Alex's, friend of the show too, Christian Slater. We love this man, and
Yeah.
Vanessa Hudgens. Man, I could almost just watch a whole like prequel film with these three in it, just trying to
I
get
know
out of
that. I know
Vegas
that's.
before
That's
before they lock it down.
I know that's what you were saying when we were going over the notes before the pre-show. You were like, you'd rather be watching this than the actual Army of the Dead, and I have to tend to agree with you. So, what do you think of these anime style companion pieces to these big productions? I mean, there's been like, what is it, the Animatrix,
Yeah,
and I
yeah. I was
think
just about to say.
the Dead Space video game they got a prequel. I think there was what that Final Fantasy, and like you had just you had just commented on earlier in this podcast was the Resident Evil kind of spinoffs that they've had. What do you think of these, kind of companion pieces?
I'm all for them. They're fun. They're great. I don't think that you should make it essential to have to watch these before the main movie comes out. But if you
Most
want to, and
definitely.
if you want to throw like a little hint hint wink wink nudge nudge like to the people that did watch it, so you can be like, oh hey, I remember in the anime like this is how like the tiger got out of the zoo and like got bit and everything. I mean, yeah, if you want to throw like little winks and nods like to the people who actually put in the time and watched it, that's fine. I think these are fun companion pieces, and like if you really get enveloped in this whole Army of the Dead universe and you want more, this just gives you more of that. So I mean, nothing wrong with that. Totally nothing wrong with that. I'm on board. How do you feel about these anime style companion pieces?
I do feel like animation does kind of. I think zombie movies do better in animation. I'm all for the gore and everything like that, but I do feel like it does get rather costly, and that's the reason why you haven't seen a lot of great zombie movies coming out lately. So I would love to see any and all animated companion pieces, especially to this project. But I do like, I don't really remember the Animatrix, but I do remember watching it. Um, I think I had way too many left-handed cigarettes way back when, and then, so I cannot tell you anything that happened during it. Um, this I will be checking out that Resident Evil one. So bring them on. I love
Yeah.
to watch it. I think, like you said, this was going to be an actual series, and the cast looks great. So I'm definitely going to be tuning into it.
Yeah, I'm totally sold. I'm totally on board for this. Now, as we were just talking before, with like the zombies kind of denoting intelligence, borrowing from like, Romero's Day of the Dead and Land of the Dead, the series will reportedly look to expand the franchise, but it already looks to borrow pretty heavily, like we said, from the Romero verse. Would you want to see a crossover from the Romero verse to this one, or should those totally be separate and on their own?
I I hope so, especially because, like you said, Zack Snyder did what was it, Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead remake.
Then that was the one in the mall, right?
Yes.
Okay. I hope so. I hope that it is ultimately ends up being shared. I'm not talking about bringing back somebody that was in that movie into this, but I just kind of being the shared universe would be kind of a little wink and a nudge to the people that had supported Zack Snyder back then. I like the Romero verse a lot. I love all of his movies. He's a really awesome director, and he kind of like spearheaded this whole zombie. You can trace it all back to George. So I would like for to see a nod to him and kind of like a tribute to him in some way, shape, or form in this movie. It doesn't have to be a shared universe, but they do need to acknowledge his importance to the genre. Well, what about you, Sam?
Uh, I don't need a shared universe either. In fact, I almost just like want to see how like this one stands on its own first. But yes, respect to George Romero. Definitely give him winks, nods, salutes to that man right there who launched the whole great zombie genre. So yeah, I don't quite need a shared universe yet, but yes, pay respects, pay homage to George Romero. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Any final thoughts on?
Hashtag Romero the Tiger.
Yeah, hashtag Romero the Tiger. Uh, Alex, any final thoughts on Army of the Dead here?
I think it comes out when,
May 21st.
and that's a Netflix thing, so there's no premium
Yeah, no,
price or
no.
anything like that. You just get it all right there at midnight, and we'll definitely be covering that the release of it, and you can make sure to tune in and hear our thoughts and critiques on the movie. So I hope they turn out favorable, and you guys can kind of always talk with us in Twitter, on email, on the YouTube comments and everything. Let us know what you think of it, and we'll be glad to go back and forth with you guys. But other than that, I don't really have anything else to add. Sam.
That wraps it up for me. So we're gonna jump on over to the Marvel comic universe. A while back, My Comic Life had covered a groundbreaking, mega popular election. Whoa, folks, not that one. um, After deciding to shake up the comic book roster of arguably their most famous superhero group, the X-Men, Marvel settled on Professor X, Cyclops, Phoenix, Jean Grey Phoenix, Angel, Beast, Iceman, and one last member that Marvel left up to the fans. Marvel hosted an election where they invited fans to vote on who they think should join the team out of 10 candidates, and the fans have spoken. I'm going to start listing these off from who got the least amount of votes to who our winner was. So coming in at number 10, strong guy with that poor congenital heart condition, man, just couldn't quite make the cut. Then at number 9, we had Cannonball. You and I were both surprised to see Cannonball kind of so low on the list with his list of powers. So shocking there. Number 8, Marrow. Number 7, Boom Boom, whose name I still have trouble saying. Number 6 was Armor. Number 5 was Tempo. Number 4 was Forge. Number 3 was Sunspot. Number 2 was Banshee. And number 1, drum roll please, folks. Grrr, Polaris at number 1. Now, like I said, we did cover this election back in early February, And our picks, like my top five picks, were Forge, Banshee, Cannonball, Sunspot, and Polaris. And then I broke it down to my final three, and I wanted that to be Cannonball, Sunspot, and Polaris, with Sunspot winning. Now, on Alex's side, he had Forge, Sunspot, Cannonball, Tempo, Polaris, and his final three came down to Cannonball, Sunspot, and Polaris. Wow, we had the same final three.
Yeah.
But Alex wins the My Comic Life betting pool on this one because he had picked Polaris to be the one that won this competition, and man, was he ever right. What did you think about the way Marvel handled this roster shakeup, Alex?
I really enjoyed it. I like that they left it up to the fans and they got them involved to kind of, because let's be honest, since the movies had kind of dipped and, Marvel and Disney had bought out the property, so that we weren't going to be getting anything XMen as far as movies for a while. So they kind of had to leave it to the comics. They needed to shake it up and get the fans involved and reinvigorate it. And this was an excellent way to do that. Would I have chosen these 10 people? No, I would have chosen mine would have been way better. But I am I wasn't surprised. If you go back and you listen, I was just like, it's Polaris and everybody else. Um, and I can honestly say that with her winning, it is a bit underwhelming. It is it's a pretty boring pick when you honestly think about it, because there was a lot more that they could have done with some of the other people in on the ballot. But as far as how Marvel handled it, man, I mean, hats off. It was an excellent PR. Whoever's handling their marketing department really did a good job with this. And what do you think, Sam? Does Marvel deserve kudos, or did you
Yeah,
still a
no,
little?
any I'm still a little hurt that my picks weren't picked, but no. Hey man, anything you do to like pull the fans into like the comic book verse, I'm all for. I thought this was a great idea. You know, give them like a list of 10 because there's so many X-Men out there. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm happy that they're like, here's 10, pick them. Um, but yeah, I was a little surprised by how this top 10 rolled out. Like I said, I probably would have had like Boom Boom coming in at number 10, and I would have put Strong Guy at like 8. Were there any top 10 rankings that like surprised you?
I think you and I both felt like Cannonball deserved to be a lot higher than the fans voted him to be. I mean, his power set's pretty good. He's got the history. He is a very popular. I guess not very popular. We thought he was pretty popular, but apparently he's not. Uh, um, him being so low at number 9 was really surprising to me. I did not see people like Boom Boom, Armor, and Tempo. I mean, I saw Tempo, but like Boom Boom and Armor, or even Banshee myself, cracking into the top part of the list. That was pretty crazy to me. But that'd probably be it for me. Like I said before, I'd have had many different. I'd have had like Magneto, Wolverine. Like my top 10 would have been way different, and it would have been a lot harder for you to pick. But what about you, Sam? Were you surprised by any of the rankings here?
Yeah, like I said, I felt Strong Guy should have been higher. Boom Boom should have been lower. I was surprised Armor got the higher ranking there. I was happy with the top four. Like I thought the top four were great. I just would have moved Cannonball into 5 and like Tempo back down to like 6.
Mm-hmm.
But no, with Forge, Sunspot, Banshee, and Polaris, like I think the fans were spot on, and you and I almost got most of the top three right with Sunspot and Polaris. We just we put Cannonball higher up on our list. Uh, to
Yeah,
coincide with
apparently.
this, to coincide with this, though, Marvel released a series of short comics leading up to the announcement. Now, these comics included Equality with Strong Guy and Forge, Oversurge with Boom Boom and Tempo, The Best Offense with Armor and Marrow, Popularity Contest with Cannonball and Sunspot, and finally, New X-Men with Polaris and Banshee. The short 6-panel comics were written by Zeb Wells and art by Mike Henderson and colors by Rochelle Rosenberg. Alex, did you read any of these? And if so, like, what were some of your favorites?
I think probably my favorite was the first one that they had released, the Equality with Strong Guy and Forge, because it was really funny. It kind of got it gave Strong Guy a chance to show that he is kind of a humorous character. All of them were very well written. I mean, it's kind of hard not to write a decent six panel comic, but I was I there were a lot of people that were kind of annoyed with it by the time it got down to like the fourth comic and the fifth comic. So, but I was reading those Twitter comments, man, and a lot of them were just like, why don't you just shut up and tell us who won? And it's kind of
Man, that's
baffling.
hostile
But
fanboys right there.
I mean, telling you, man, those are those these hostile cannonball fans, I guess. But yeah, no, I liked Equality with Strong Guy and Ford. I suggest you fans, if you're listening, go and find it. It's on Marvel's website. I think I don't know if Sam's going to be able to put a link to it in the show's description, but you should definitely go seek them out and read them. They're real quick read. Excuse me. But yeah, I liked them. I liked every single one of them a lot. But what about you, Sam? Did you have a favorite, or were you just kind of you liked the whole anthology, or?
I kind of liked it all, but like you, I kind of liked the first one. Equality with Strong Guy and Forge. I thought their back and forth was just kind of funny, and it's always just great to see Strong Guy back in comics. So anytime that like sort of like the underdog characters there, get representation. I'm all for it, and like I said, I love the back and forth banter between those two. So that was definitely my favorite for sure. Quick follow up question here. Who is your dark horse pick if they do the same election style process for the Avengers?
Oh man, dark horse pick.
Yeah,
Loki.
Loki to join the Avengers? What?
Yeah, man, that'd be mine. It would be like Thor is missing, and they need an Asgardian, so Loki's the one who takes up the mantle, and he's out there helping the Avengers. Think about it, man. It'd actually be a pretty cool storyline. So that would probably be my dark horse pick, man. Hey, you got a better one, man. I'm all ears, Sam. Go ahead.
No, man. Forget that. You just sold me. Yeah, Loki on the Avengers would be absolutely hilarious, especially written in comics. Maybe the only other person I think might be even kind of funnier and more out there, but I think he's been on the Avengers before, would be Deadpool, just to see him shake things up in
Oh
Avengers
yeah.
Tower. That would that would be kind of out of left field, but it would still be pretty hilarious. So yeah, you sold me Loki or Deadpool definitely. Anything else you want to say on this one, Alex?
I'm so far I'm 1-0 when it comes to the betting pool. So I'll be starting my betting service soon. Make sure you follow me on. No, I'm just kidding. So that's
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it that I
yeah.
that I have to offer you guys. If you need any tarot card readings or any kind of future predictions, just let me know.
All right, still staying in the Marvel universe, but jumping over to the Disney Plus Marvel universe. We're about to get into episode 4 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Alex, I remembered this week. Pat on my back here. Pause. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I'm gonna give you the infamous My Comic Life 4 second countdown here. 4, 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. Spoilers coming. The 4th episode of the Marvel Studios' The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was titled The Whole World is Watching and debuted on Disney Plus on April 9th. Immediately picking up where episode 3 left off, Io gives Barnes 8 hours to use Zemo before the Wakandans take him as Zemo killed their king, T'Chaka. Zemo helps find Morgenthau at a funeral for her adoptive mother where Walker and Hoskins intercept them. Wilson speaks with Morgenthau alone and attempts to persuade her to end the violence, but an impatient Walker intervenes and a fight ensues. Zemo destroys most of the serum before he is apprehended by Walker, who secretly takes the last vial. Io and the Dora Milaje come for Zemo, but Walker refuses to hand him over. In the ensuing fight, the Dora Milaje humiliates Walker while Zemo escapes. Morgenthau threatens Sarah, forcing Wilson to meet with her so she can attempt to persuade him to join her. Walker and Hoskins engage other members of the Flag Smashers, leading to another fight in which Morgenthau accidentally kills Hoskins. Enraged by his friend's death and having taken the serum, Walker uses the shield to kill one of the Flag Smashers in front of horrified bystanders who film his actions. A lot to get through in this one. What were your initial thoughts while watching this, Alex?
I think my what I took away first from this episode was that the Dora Milaje, man, they kick a lot of ass, dude. Like we knew that watching, Black Panther and watching the Winter Soldier, where we first got to see them in the MCU, but they just beat up everybody. I thought that was really cool. Another thing that I had thought was how much Sam like emulates, not really necessarily emulates, but he has so much of Cap in him because his whole, let me talk her down. She's doing this for the right reasons. She's just going about it the wrong way. Like that, I could very easily see that being Steve Rogers instead of Sam Wilson doing something like that. So that would probably be my initial thoughts while watching. What about you, Sam?
Oh man, yeah, I was blown away. Love the Dora Milaje fight scene. The Dora Milaje kick ass, man. They're
Yeah.
awesome. Love seeing them. Love seeing the deceptive Zemo kind of sneak away a little bit. There in the end. I mean, just perfect for his character. Uh, Horrifying and yet so awesome to see, and yet still horrifying to see. Yeah, John smash that guy's head in with the shield while it's being recorded. And honestly, that made me think back to an Erskine quote from Captain America. It's the day before Captain America is supposed to undergo his transformation, and Erskine says to him, "Whatever happens tomorrow, you must promise me one thing: that you will stay who you are, not a perfect soldier, but a good man." So I think Steve was definitely a good man, while John Walker was a perfect soldier, but not necessarily a good man. And as you know, the super soldier serum, I mean, gives you all these great, like enhanced strength, speed, agility, whatever. But it also just enhances who you are as a person. And and so, once again, I think John Walker was a good soldier, but not necessarily a good man. And that's where you get him smashing the guy's face in with the shield. And that's what separates him from Steve.
I think I'm glad that you brought up that scene because personally for me, what I thought when I saw that scene was, if you remember in Civil War when Steve has the chance to do that to Tony, he doesn't go for the face. He goes for his power, his little reactor
Yeah,
that he has on his.
his arc reactor. Yeah,
He goes for
he's not
that
he's not
instead.
yeah he's not looking to kill Tony. He's looking to shut down his suit.
Whereas Walker definitely, I think had the situations been switched, Walker would have definitely tried to kill Tony. So I did like that they put that in there, and it was kind of like, no, this is the difference between that Captain America that you know and love and this Captain America in the world today. So, and I like that, I didn't think about that before, so I really like your comparison with, the doctor way back when, before Steve had undergone his procedure. And yeah, I mean, that's what you get when you have a perfect soldier, and versus what you got when you just had a man who, didn't have anything to begin with and kind of never took anything for granted. So I thought
Yep.
that was probably my favorite parts of the episode. Besides when Io had done that the five finger exploding palm technique on Bucky's arm.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that was pretty sweet,
Oh my
But
gosh, yeah, she like knocked his arm like right off.
it was definitely awesome to watch. Like you said, that fight was definitely took the cake of the episode, and I was not necessarily surprised, but I was kind of surprised that Zemo had ended up just stepping on the serum and just destroying it. But all credit to him, and he is a man of conviction, and that's why he's quickly becoming like my favorite. I guess he would be now. What would you classify him as? Kind of an anti-hero, or is he still
Yeah,
kind of a
anti
villain?
and I would say like he's like got like his pinky toe still dipped in like the villain pool, but I mean like he's quickly becoming an anti-hero.
He definitely balances on that fence, and he sways one way and another. He does it so well. All credit due to the actor who's portraying him. He's doing a phenomenal job. But that's probably be my favorite parts of the show, and Zemo basically being my favorite part of the series so far. But what about you, Sam? Do you have any kind of preferences?
Oh no, I mean, like I said, loved all the action, loved seeing the Dora Milaje. Zemo, I mean, Zemo almost steals every scene he's in. Um, love that shocking ending, just because, like, like you're like, oh crap, are they? Is he really? Is he really like? Is he not going to stop hitting him?
Mm-hmm.
Stop hitting him, man. And I did, yeah. I loved your comparison earlier to like Sam trying to like talk Morgenthau down. That is definitely something Steve would have done. Like because even during Civil War, like he tried to talk to Tony first before you know he went to like fighting him, but by any means. And so yeah, like Sam is definitely like carrying on like the legacy and the spirit of Steve in him for sure. And it was great to see him like Sam walking in like, but also, I mean, like when we first meet Sam in the Winter Soldier, he's counseling to vets at the VA, and so this is like something he's really great at, and I think he, drew on that part of his personality, just to try to like talk her down a little bit and be like, look, can we please do this without violence here? And it's great to see Sam taking these approaches in the show.
Absolutely. I think that's why the three of them, Sam, Steve, and Barnes, why they got along so well is because they're not the perfect soldiers. I mean Barnes, I guess you could make the argument there, but they are all, good men that, they serve their country, they serve their community. So I like to see them, doing what they do and kicking ass, and they make a great team. So I hope to. I mean, as of right now, we haven't gotten confirmation on a season two, and I hope that they
Oh,
just
I
kind
hope
of.
I hope we get it.
Oh, for real, man. But I mean, kind of piggybacking on that question, has there been any glaring weaknesses in the show for you, or?
No, I mean, like it started out with kind of like a WandaVision style, kind of like setup episode with like episode one of like, here's the characters, here's the universe that we're living in right now, post blip. But man, it's like a locomotive just starting up, and they just keep feeding more and more coal into that engine, man, and it's just going faster and faster and faster, but getting better and better and stronger with every episode. I have thoroughly enjoyed this show. No real weaknesses for me. The only weakness is that the episodes aren't longer, and that we're
Man,
not getting to spend more time with these characters. What about you? Any glaring weaknesses?
I wouldn't really call it a weakness because everybody does such an amazing job in their roles. I mean, even Walker is amazing. Zemo, of course, we always give credit to him. Sam is we give credit to him. I want to see more Bucky because especially at the beginning of this episode when they do the flashback and they show him and Io kind of back in Wakanda, and I think like that was probably some of his best acting that I've ever seen, and the best acting that I've ever seen in a Marvel production. Period. Was him, her reading out um,
Oh yeah, the code words to
yeah,
him.
her reading out the code words and him just kind of struggling and the emotions that overcame him. That was like a whoa moment for me. Like man, like I know we were talking about how um, Elizabeth Olsen deserves Emmy or Academy Award or whatever consideration for her, going through six different decades in WandaVision. But I really think that the guy that plays Bucky, I'm old man
Sebastian
braining.
Stan.
Yes, Sebastian. Thank you very much. Sebastian Stan deserves some consideration for his role as Bucky Barnes, kind of being this like war torn, kind of PTSD ridden, ex-soldier trying to do better for himself. I hope that that these streaming services can finally break through the kind of the Hollywood blue bloods, excuse me, and get the accolades that they deserve because they are well deserved, especially this year.
Okay, big question coming up here. What do you rate this episode, Alex?
Oh man, this was like a damn near perfect episode. I gotta say, I'm gonna go solid 9. I would go a solid 9 on this one, man. And this show just keeps getting better and better, but I do feel like this one, I don't know. Like it's really difficult to kind of get my finger on it. I just give it a 9, bro, because I gotta leave room because there's still what 2 episodes left to this point. I know we
Yeah.
always give you guys an extra week to watch, before we discuss it. So make sure you do because I keep telling you guys I'm dying to cover this next episode because it is a doozy. So make sure you guys watch it before we cover it next week. But I gotta just leave room for these next two because I know it's gonna pop off, man. It's only a 6 episode series, and
Yeah.
so they have to wrap it up. And yeah, so it's a 9 for me. But what about you, Sam?
I almost gave this a 9.5, but then like you've sold me on this argument of you got to leave room. So now 9.2, like solid 9.2, A minus, great episode, great storytelling, great action, great writing, great acting, just greatness across the board. No complaints here.
Absolutely, man. So remember, like I said, you guys have a week to watch it. The fifth episode, right as of right now, has already come out. So you guys have kind of like 5 days to watch it. I hope that you do because we will be covering it here on My Comic Life as we do every week.
Yeah. All right, folks, this wraps up our episode of My Comic Life. Quick shout out to our My Comic Life fan of the week, John Swindle, out there in Dallas, Texas. Thank you, John, so much for liking, subscribing, commenting, and listening to the show. We appreciate you, sir. John, you are our My Comic Life fan of the week. You are awesome, sir.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As always, apologies to Kevin Smith. Man, we just keep running out of time. Just cannot get you on the show. We'll try next week, I swear. But as always, folks, ditch the herd. Be a nerd. Stay strong out there, my friends.